I have pressed on the brake instead of the accelerator, so please.
Women drivers are like stars in the shining sky. Only you can see them. They can't see you. The minute you have a true friend who's happy for you, who has a love for celebrating your own success with you, I think contentment is a given.
My God, I feel like suddenly calling you Harpreet Baba. I'm feeling healed right now, I swear.
The minute the crowning was done, I think Aishwarya Rai was crowned and Sushmita Sen was crowned and it was my photo and the photographer ban raha hai. कभी लाइफ में शादी का फोटोग्राफर मत बन जाना. What the hell? I am a fashion photographer. How dare you ask me to shoot your
मैं
wedding?
शादियाँ नहीं करता. It was a story in the wedding.
No, I
story.
just wanted to eat food the next month. Didn't want to be broke. So I did that wedding so that I had enough money to survive one more month.
So I feel the focus is going into how is this getting captured?
Yeah.
How am I looking on Insta? She's not bothered about what the groom is thinking of her.
So buying a new house, the birth of a child, the death of a loved one, and the wedding and the marriage day. I mean, these 4 days roughly are the most memorable days of your life. The only money that is yours is the money that you spend. If it's your profession and if you're the owner of the business, it is your job to know everything. A film director, failed Bollywood actor, failed Bollywood editor, cinematographer might as well be a successful reel maker, na?
बेटा तुमने लाइफ में क्या किया? मैंने इंस्टा रील्स बनाई.
You know, one generation that shifts to Bombay has to sacrifice their personal life. The minute you're excelling in your professional life, your personal life takes a beating. And my marriage had totally broken down. I had a 3-month-old son and he was taken away from me. I didn't have work, I didn't have the money. I was going through a period of depression and a very dark phase.
This show must go on. This podcast was majorly created to actually sit and chat and live the lives of so many personalities from the space of events and entertainment. This episode's guest is actually somebody who has captured the lives of many. Here is somebody who has created magic in weddings. We've seen his funny side on social media, but there is the other real side, the other very sane and absolutely philosophical side to him that I got to discover through this chat. Watch on, listen on as I speak to Harpreet Bachher. Harpreet Bachher, I want to call you the storyteller. I love whatever you do, whether it's your reels or it's the amazing stories that come through in your work. Tell me, how much of a storyteller do you believe you are?
I believe I was born to be a storyteller because a storyteller has to be a nautanki, basically. Has to be able to, although I'm an introvert by nature, you have to be some kind of an extrovert when you're a storyteller.
Yeah.
So, right from the school days, I think I came out of school very young into college. In my first year of college, I was already a writer, a journalist by default, by accident. Mm-hmm. And that is where storytelling became a part of, how you narrate something, how you put across a point. Mm. Anybody is a storyteller. It just depends. That gift of the gab, which is a negative connotation, is actually a beautiful thing when you can express yourself or express somebody else's story through your eyes. So I have time to evolve as a storyteller, but I'm very proud to be a storyteller. I enjoy it.
You do. And then why did this storyteller waste a seat in architect?
No. My dad was in the army, and being an army kid, it was, it's kind of a given ki, what do you want to do in life? Do you want to go in the army as well? Because usually army kids will go into the army.
The armed force.
But my dad is an extremely saintly man, disciplined man. I am just the opposite. I'm more of my mom. On my mom. My mom is going to kill me, but ठीक है. And I was a rebel. So school खत्म हुआ और ऐसा लगा कि यार अब क्या करें. I got a seat in medicine. I left that. I got a seat in engineering. I left that because I was not the medicine child. I was not the engineering kind. And I thought I am a little bit of a creative guy.
Huh.
Now people ask me, are you an artist or a businessman? So I've never been able to answer that question. But for the lack of options, there was architecture, and I was fascinated with, I've always been into interiors and design and all of that. And for the lack of options, I said I'm going to be in a design field, but I was from a non-arts stream.
Absolutely.
So now I couldn't go into accounts. I was bad at accounts. I was bad at everything else. But architecture required science.
Huh.
And so architecture happened. And I was very happy because in my first month in college, we were in the class. And now before that, in 12th, you are sitting from 7 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the evening doing studies and maths and physics. And somebody who doesn't get it. I say, yaar, kab niklenge? But college was fun. You were sketching and you were clay. You're making models out of clay and then photographing. And all of that became very fascinating because design in its totality is architecture. Every field of design, a lot of filmmakers, a lot of actors have come out of architecture colleges. Because architecture refines that base of design that you have. It gives you an outlet for your creative expression. So, ban gaye. First year architecture, I was also playing golf. Now, it's a very interesting story. I was a golfer, and 17 years, I was, India under 17 के लिए try कर रहे हैं, ये कर रहे हैं, वो कर रहे हैं. One day, I got a call कि Times of India का कोई reporter भाग गया है. I couldn't understand कि भाग गया है. मतलब, it was very ambiguous, it was very mysterious. And somebody said, you're a golfer, and golf ki report is very specific, nobody can write golf. Only a golfer can write golf.
Okay.
Says, आप वहाँ पर हो golf, आप आके एक report की इन करोगे क्या? मतलब टाइप कर दोगे? बोला हाँ. I was 17 वहाँ पर बाइक पे बैठे पहुँच गए ऑफिस, टाइप आउट कर दिया. अगले दिन I got a check of 200 or 150 या 200 rupees. And 150 or 200 rupees in 1997-98 was like, oh wow, I mean, this is like, I had 50 rupees in my bank account here. And there was no ATM that time. The HDFC did not have an ATM. The first ATM in Pune came in front of us in Ferguson College Road. And so we said, अरे यार, मज़ा आ गया, 200 रुपये, 150 रुपये मिले. मैं अगले दिन जाके बोला स्पोर्ट्स रिपोर्टर को, अभी स्पोर्ट्स एडिटर को, सर मैं बास्केटबॉल भी लिख सकता हूँ और फुटबॉल के जो मैचेस चल रहे हैं इंटर कॉलेज, मैं वो भी कर सकता हूँ. बोला यार ये बड़ा, एंड माई इंग्लिश वॉज गुड. तो वहाँ गए, लिखना शुरू हो गए. अब जब मंथली चेक आया तो माई चेक, बिकॉज आई वॉज फ्रीलांसर और पर आर्टिकल मिल रहा था, तो कॉलेज के बाद चले. एंड कॉलेज एंड टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया ऑफिस वॉज जस्ट लाइक 5 minutes अवे. मेरा चेक वॉज मोर देन द मेन एडिटर्स चेक. And everyone got alarmed. Who's this chap who's getting more money than the editor? Because they didn't realize I was keying in articles and all of that. So that was the start of the journey in Times of India, in Pune.
And you took up like a full-time job with them then?
No. I was still a freelancer. They were not hiring. I mean, I was too young. I was 17 or 18. I just turned 18. And this is first year of college. And so they could not legally hire me because But they were hiring freelancers. I mean, back in the day, I'm talking about 98.
Right.
And when they started seeing that I had the knack of writing sports and I was quick at the job, who wouldn't hire me, right? Now, college started seeing that my name had started coming in the newspaper. So my principal got ये थोड़ा टेढ़ा है ये बंदा, कि ये टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया में भी जा रहा है, वहाँ पर भी, ये अपने पढ़ाई पे कॉन्सेंट्रेट नहीं कर रहा है. मैं बोला भाई, मैं मतलब I love studies. I love architecture. So I was giving my best. But however, you have that thing that has started off. Now that was the tussle. And gradually, as life happened, one day we went for an air show, and I had a photographer who carried 4 cameras, and the aircraft was about to flip. There was a moment where the aircraft would flip, and that guy was supposed to shoot that moment. And I said to him, "You have 4 cameras. You have 4 lenses. The aircraft is going to flip for a millisecond. Give me 1 camera. Even I'll try if I can get the moment." He said, "Hey, shut up, man. What will you do? What do you know about photography?" So I said, "Okay, yeah, that's right. I mean, I don't know. I'm the journalist. I'm the writer on the article. He's the photographer." जब फोटो आई ना, he just got a wing of the plane. उसने पूरा प्लेन ही मिस कर दिया था. तो एडिटर गॉट मैड कि यार ये क्या है ना. इवन आई वाज फ्यूरियस. अब मेरा आर्टिकल अंदर नहीं जाएगा, मेरा पैसा वहां पर, मेरा ट्रिप वेस्ट हो गया, पैसा नहीं मिलेगा क्योंकि इस बेवकूफ ने शूट नहीं किया है. अगले दिन मैं गया, मैंने कैमरा खरीद लिया. And then I photographed the Miss Indias that happened, Times of India, Miss Indias that happened in Pune that time. And on the day of Miss India, my camera was stolen. I rushed in the middle. So 11 baje raat ko, that time there were films and you had to process it. And the lab was open for me. So in the middle of the minute the crowning was done, I think Aishwarya Rai was crowned and Sushmita Sen was crowned and it was my photo. And the minute that thing happened, I rushed to the lab, we got it. And while I'm in that, in that rush, my camera gets stolen from the lab. And I was distraught. मेरी जिंदगी खत्म हो गई थी. I mean, 19, 20-year-old, your camera worth 65, 70,000 is lost. I mean,
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And my mother saw that and she got me a camera the very next day. The same camera. And that to me gave me it told me that maybe this is destiny. This is where I'm supposed to be. So life doesn't, I mean, you can't plan life. You just have to flow.
Yeah.
And as long as you give an honest, an honest
Attempt.
effort to anything that you're doing,
it gets you. It gets you into that.
It gets you.
This would be 99 Miss India in Pune.
Yes.
It was in.
Yes, around that time. Yes.
I think if it was 99, then my sister was in Miss India. That's what I was asking. Yeah.
What was the name?
She won Miss India Asia Pacific, the 3rd title. So there was Gul Panag, Yuktamukhi, and Shivangi Parikh.
Yes, Shivangi Parikh.
Yeah.
I photographed her. Yes. I remember Gul Panag, Yuktamukhi. Yeah, that is my picture.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That has my title on the top of the photo. What a small world.
What a small world. And I remember I was like this kiddo who had gone there to see the contest live.
Yes.
And then when her name was actually
it was Pune Club.
It was.
I was right there at the...
I must have been the one who pushed you and ran to the stage when the result was announced.
Since 1999, we've had a love relationship. Last you pushed me at the last wedding that we did.
What a journey, na?
What a journey.
I think weddings are overall quite dramatic, na? The nautanki that you are talking about as a storyteller, I think शादियों से ज़्यादा नौटंकी कहीं नहीं मिलता है.
It's the biggest day of somebody's life. I think after the milestone events of people are maybe moving into a new house or buying a new house.
Yeah.
The birth of a child, the death of a loved one, and the wedding and the marriage day. I mean, these 4 days roughly are the most memorable days of your life.
Absolutely.
So they tend to be also the most stressful day of somebody's life. And I normally say the most stressful day of your life is an everyday for us. So that is weddings for us.
So brilliantly put and so true. So true. And I wonder if anyone is ever going to be able to capture or articulate what we go through. And as we experience these emotions again and again and again, and you still get that consumed, don't you? after having spoken to so many brides, you still will talk to your next as if it were the first time, because it is her first time facing the
Yes.
camera, talking to someone, telling
Yes.
someone she doesn't know her story. How do
Yes.
you go through that process of warming them up and making them comfortable enough for them to tell you the real story?
It's a very organic process. I think it has to be inbuilt. It has to come out of a genuine love for somebody's story. You can't put on an act here. Um, Once you've done, when it was your first wedding, you did things you did not know, you found out, but that was also somebody's first wedding. It was also your first wedding.
Yeah.
Whereas it was your 100th wedding, it was somebody's first wedding. Now if it is your 500th wedding, it is also somebody's first wedding. So you have to approach it with, every time I think you have to approach it as a child. And if you are curious, if you're genuinely in love with somebody's story or somebody's life journey, so much so that you have to make a sensible film that they see after 3 years and 5 years and 10 years and 15 years and all the milestones of their life, they should be able to say, hey, this is beautiful. Somebody who's made my story up till now or documented that and presented it to me, that has to have some kind of value.
It has to. Tell me, how you work for clients all across the globe. How different is an Indian bride from India vis-a-vis an Indian bride from Europe or US?
Inherently, we are not an Indian bride. Every bride is the same.
Yeah.
Not an Indian one from India or from Europe. It is every bride is the same. They more or less have the same level of excitement. They want to be able to live that moment, that special moment, with a lot of love, surrounded by love, feeling the love. A lot of them take the stress, and I want to tell them, please don't waste your time. I mean, things that have to go wrong will go wrong, and that is the beauty of the day.
Yeah.
The last wedding I shot, it started raining, and this was this beautiful lakeside at the Fairmont in Montreux in Switzerland. And people will go to the location for that lakeside lawn, overlooking the lake and the Swiss Alps. And it was pouring in the morning. And this was a ceremony that was supposed to start at 10 o'clock. And the planner says, it's raining, it's forecast, it's bad, it's going to be raining till the evening. We need to shift the wedding indoors. And the bride, God bless her, she said, you know what, we'll wait. But I don't want to do a wedding indoors after going to this location, because that's my dream. And we waited, and 2:30 sharp, the sun came out, and we rushed, and the whole ceremony was dry, beautiful, overlooking, and fresh light. So it's just that, there are going to be things that go wrong.
Yeah.
You just have to take it in your stride and enjoy the imperfections. The minute you start to enjoy everything, because life is not fair, right?
Yeah. True.
Life is beautiful. Life is unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen the next minute.
True.
You have to enjoy the imperfections. And so many, younger brides will not kind of get it. And more so now, if you're overthinking your big day, you tend to be, tend to dwell on things that are not going right.
Yeah, absolutely. The focus is going on to what's not going right rather than being in the moment. And also, I feel the focus is going into how is this getting captured?
Yeah.
How am I looking on Insta? She's not bothered about what the groom is thinking of her as much as she's today bothered about how it's going to come on Insta. Aren't you guys actually battling a lot because you're emotionally supposed to be there for the bride? Y'all are spending time with her while she's getting ready. She's telling you stories that she hasn't told people. And yet she's very conscious. She's giving you the right angle and the right narrative so that her video comes out interesting.
But that's the day to day, Everybody, rather than looking at a beautiful moment happening, will take out their phones and start to shoot either a vertical format or a horizontal format of the video, mostly vertical, because now they want to put it as a reel
Yeah.
and show the world that, oh, my life is fantastic. I have this, I was here, I was shooting this beautiful wedding, I was doing this, rather than enjoying.
Yeah.
But that's the time today. I mean, and I think I've learned to give in to the time, because that's what it is.
It
if you
is.
see a child today and you take away his phone, the child is handicapped. And we used to say, oh, yeah, don't give your phones to children. But today, children are so much more smarter with the phone. Their life revolves around a phone. It's like taking a limb if you take the phone, So that's the life today. You got to change. You got to adapt. Older people will just say, you're not enjoying this. But they're enjoying it. But, just in their own way.
Yeah, in their own way. I think it's too much for anyone to battle. It's all coming. You just have to soak and let it be a part of the system, because there's nothing you can do standing alone. I remember the first time when this transition was happening and all the guests would take out their phones to, capture Jaimal and things like that. I used to talk to a lot of my photographer friends, and I used to feel that they are feeling very let down. Whilst they're trying to get the perfect moment, here they have 20 other people, including the bride's social media manager, who is trying to intervene, and so many of the guests who unknowingly come into the frame, and it used to bother them. And then the next part, that they want to edit the picture and make it more beautiful and package it right. Gone is the time, because in a second, the same picture is already up out there. It spoiled the joy and the contribution that someone like you could make. Do you feel that way?
Yes and no, but it's also gotten photographers sharper now, because a lot of people, photography is not rocket science, it's something that is there in everybody. And if they just sharpen up their skills, you can shoot a professional photo with an iPhone today, or any of your smartphones today.
True.
So now photographers, if anything, have to up their game. Yes, what is it's doing for the society in general is that every guest is now shooting that moment. I remember this one uncle, older uncle, Punjabi uncle, beautiful location, Sangeet is going on, people are dancing. He's right there in the center shooting those dances in front of the photographer, in front of the audience, and he's an older man, so you feel sad, you don't want to, he's an elder.
Yeah.
And when I look back, I say that's his only happiness, to see what he's shot and be proud that I have got this moment and I was there.
Cute.
That's his version of the social media craze that is there
Yeah,
today.
he wants to belong too.
Yeah. So you just have to go into another person's being and understand what's his want. And if you went to him and said, "Uncle, thoda side mein aiye, please, thoda." वो नहीं बेटा, हाँ मैं आता, sorry beta, that. So there's a way, but unfortunately we've forgotten the tone. Now today tones are very important. Like everybody is on the edge because they want to put out now. We want it now.
Yeah.
Photos abhi chahiye, ye chahiye. So there's a lot of impatience.
Yes.
And that is the deep root of the negative side where we are heading,
True.
So photographers are let down only by the impatience. I don't think they're let down by other people shooting, as long as they have a clean frame. But people are going to come in your frame. You've got to be, that's why you're a professional photographer. You maneuver.
Yeah.
And if there are pictures and the latest, you can generate, if AI can just remove a person. So it's not very difficult to now remove a person. Of course, it is an inconvenience.
Yeah.
But you got to up your skills.
Basically, I'm not going to take panga with you. Otherwise, next thing I know, where am I? Tell me, in 2000, was buying a camera enough, or did you eventually go through some course and try to
No, there were no
learn
courses.
the art and craft of it? No.
There were no courses. I wish I had a mentor in that time And because I did not have a mentor, I started holding photography courses every summer. I had 500, 600 students in batches of 40, like almost 10 batches, 12 batches for the 3 or 4 months that I used to take from May to August. And every year, and by the end of it, I think I did this for about 10 years.
Wow.
I
When
taught
was this?
photography. This was right from 2000, before 2000, like 1999. I started having photography classes in Pune. I was based in Pune then. Also, college was in Pune, and I had my first studio in Pune as a fashion and lifestyle photography. And then till right up to when I shifted to Bombay in 2008-9. Of course,
Wow.
I'd shifted earlier, but by the time I was properly settled in Bombay, it was 2007, 8, 9. Those years when Bombay Pune is not very far, so you were doing
Yeah.
a road trip. But by the end, I think there were about 3 or 4 thousand students that I'd had in Pune,
Nice.
and they were thankful that there was somebody to teach. Even today, my first love is teaching. There are so many things. There's so many simple things that you can tell people and say, you know what, ye mat kar yaar, aise mat kar. Just change your setting to this. Just do this. Just do this. Because nobody is there to teach.
Teach.
Teaching, as easy as it sounds, is an incredibly difficult job, because you have to get it inside somebody's brain
Yeah.
and imagine why that person is not getting, or what is it that will make that person understand that thing faster. So I wish I had a mentor. I was a press photographer. So all the press photographers are some of the toughest people on the planet are press photographers. At that time, they were film. I mean, it was
Yeah.
film. You didn't have digital.
Yeah.
So my seniors, I was the youngest by far. I think I was about 18 or 19 years old, and the second youngest was 31 years old. The very same gentleman who shot
Taken the
the
bad
clips of the we became good friends later, but that day I think I abused him, or we had a fight. But they became my mentors, and they guided, ye nahi, ye nahi. And it was not a very rich profession. I mean,
Yeah.
poorer people would go into photography. And um, I remember my mother used to joke, or my father used to joke, कि photographer बन रहा है, कभी लाइफ में शादी का photographer मत बन जाना.
So true. Slow clap to that.
And the wind.
Tell me, when you got your first wedding, did you call?
Oh,
Ay
no,
Baba, Mummy Papa, what did you tell?
No, I was not in a happy space then. My marriage had broken. I was married for 3 years, and because I was working very hard, one generation that shifts to Bombay has to sacrifice their personal life. It's very, very difficult for somebody to come from outside Bombay and settle down here. Your personal life, the minute you're excelling in your professional life, your personal life takes a beating. And my marriage had totally broken down. I had a 3-month-old son, and he was taken away from me. So I was in a very dark space at that time. And I had given up fashion and lifestyle photography because, I mean, it's not a very respectable profession for a married man to be shooting half naked women.
True.
I mean, as hollow as that sounds, that was the reality. And my marriage had broken, and I pondered, and I thought, why me? And when you're going through a divorce, you're only wondering, this can happen to anybody else, but would never happen to me. Divorce. I mean, no, never. And when it's happening to you, you're in a trance. You're analyzing life. I think you enter a deeply reflective zone where you say, hey, who am I? Where am I standing in life? Does anyone love me at all? So that was the space I was in. I didn't have work. I didn't have the money. Part of the part of the
Reason?
reason for my marriage breaking down was because I was broke. I mean, I did not have money. We were struggling. Photographers at that time was just insanely struggling. There was no money. Um, or maybe I wasn't very good at my work, and it was kismat.
It was an uncertain line always.
Yeah, it was
right?
always an uncertain line. It's kismat, and I'm glad I went through those difficult phases of life, because that gave me a new direction. And I remember 1 month in that year, in 2009, I was really bedridden. I was going through a period of depression and a very dark phase. I was bedridden, and I get out of bed literally after 20 days, and the first call I get is from a former model that I'd shot her portfolio. And she said, "Hey, I'm getting married in December." And this is just like 2 months. I think probably September at that point. I'm getting married in December. It's in Pune. Uh, it's a very weird love story because my parents don't approve of this. It's an interfaith relationship. There are going to be very few people there. Can you shoot my wedding? And normally I would just be like, what the hell? I'm a fashion photographer.
Yeah.
How dare you
How
ask me
dare
to
you?
shoot your
मैं
wedding?
शादियां नहीं करता.
Yeah. But the phase that I was in, I just surrendered to whatever was coming my way. And I said, I would love to. And that became my first wedding. And digital cameras had just come in. And while I was photographing the wedding, somebody else was rolling the video. And while the video was being rolled, the audio was also being rolled, And she did not expect her dad to come for the wedding. Because, he was against the match and all. But he came. And they were not talking. So imagine, it's a weird scene, right? So wedding going on, there are fairas happening, dad is sitting there, he's not talking to the daughter, and this thing. And something in me, the one thing I think, thank you God, I'm blessed with is understanding people's emotion, and that's where storytelling comes from. Half of the time I'm imagining the stories in my head, and the picture mere dimag mein hi ban jati hai. But I knew there was a problem. I knew he wanted to say something. I knew she wanted to ask him something. And I was the person who was destined to ask that story. So I go after the wedding, I sit her down, and I'm just chatting. But I tell my videographer, roll. And there was no, plugging the audio. This is an audio mic. You can hear my audio clearly. So we had fuzzy audios. There was no device that we were carrying for audios. But he was fairly close to her, and he'd got her audios. He'd got that story. And she started talking to me. She broke down while talking to me. And she said, I'm so happy my father is there. I'm only wishing he speaks to me or he accepts my husband. And 2 hours later, I talked to the father. He breaks down. And this is a completely different room. I've just met him because I want to make the story, and that time I don't want to make the story. I just want to talk to him.
Yeah.
The videographer is like, sir, मैं क्या करूँ? मैं अभी 2 घंटे का break है. खाना तो हो गया. अभी मैं कहाँ बैठूँ? तो मैं बोला, तो मेरे साथ ही रहे, हम लोग घूमते हैं यहाँ पर गार्डन में उस टाइम पे. तो मैं बोला चल. तो while I was there, तो dad was leaving. तो I said, sir, बहुत मजा आया. Thank you. ये बहुत अच्छा हो गया ना, ये हो गया, आपने खाना खाया? बोला हो गया. अब everything okay? कहते हाँ भाई. कहते मैंने बोला मेरे को 1-2 मिनट आपसे बात करनी है. अच्छा, मैं यहाँ बैठ जाऊँ? एंड parents are like, okay, ठीक है. तो यहाँ बैठ जाओ. And around the same place that she was sitting, and I still remember there were flowers in the background, and so this guy put on the camera and started rolling. And even he didn't realize that the camera was rolling. And that time, because digital tha hi nahi, there was no video, there was no phone, there was no smartphones with videos, yeah. So he didn't realize that video was rolling. You saw a camera, you thought ये camera से सिर्फ photos आती हैं, videos नहीं हो सकते. So nobody thought कि video roll हो रहा है. Video roll हुआ. He started crying. He said, my daughter thinks that I don't love her or I'm not accepting her husband. I want to just get a chance to say sorry to her that I made a mistake. He started crying. He said, I love her. She's been my little girl. When she was 3 years old, she did this. When she was 5 years old, and then he started laughing and crying and laughing and crying. And that became the most beautiful story I'd ever done. And when we made the film, we put their bites, we intercut their bites, and people were blown away. Film ban gayi hai, sab kuch hai, 6 baje deliver karna hai, 5 baje soch rahe hain, हरप्रीत बछेर फोटोग्राफी तो नहीं लिख सकते यार, कोई तो नाम देना पड़ेगा ये कंपनी को, क्या नाम दे, एडिटर से पूछते हैं, यहाँ से पूछते हैं, वहाँ से नाम सजेस्ट कर कुछ, कहते द वेडिंग स्टोरी लिख दो. एंड दैट बिकेम द बर्थ ऑफ द वेडिंग स्टोरी. And that's it. That's destiny.
Unreal. That is destiny.
And today, the wedding story is one of the most precious names. Even if I went and hunted for a name,
No way.
I would never get this name.
No
But
way.
back in the day, it was destiny. You know?
Yeah.
And it was born out of pure passion for storytelling.
Actually, you said it right. It was for that passion. I'm sure that time you had not even imagined that you will end up doing weddings every single day. That was never the agenda.
I just wanted to eat.
It was a story in the wedding
No, I
story.
just wanted to eat food the next month. Didn't want to be broke. So I did that wedding so that I had enough money to survive one more month. As basic as that sounds today, that was the story. And from that day, I was repaying a very big loan for the next 4 years of my life after doing weddings. And then from that point, the day I reached zero in my life. So I sometimes laugh at people who say, sir, paisa nahi hai. I said, कितना है? सर 50,000 होएगा बैंक में. मैं बोला, कमीने, तेरे पास बैंक में 50,000 रुपए प्लस में है. जब कोई नेगेटिव होता है ना, तब समझ में आएगी तेरे को. चुपचाप काम कर और वेट कर, मेहनत कर और वेट कर, तेरा टाइम आएगा.
Do you get emotionally consumed with your clients and their stories, and do you get involved in their personal lives by default?
Of course. I know more about the bride and groom's childhood than anyone else. Then even sometimes the partners know about each other because I'm talking to the families about his childhood, her childhood, some stories. I'm talking to both of them about the feelings they had for each other. I don't even think people discuss that with each other. You know, your lovers won't discuss, oh, I felt this. I mean, they would, but not to a stranger. You tend to have different versions, and the real version comes only to a stranger, not even to a friend, because a friend is kind of judgmental. But a stranger who's a professional, who's there to do a job, you're like, that is the point. I fell in love with her. You know, that is my bingo moment. Yes,
I got it out.
Got it. Yeah. So I'm.
Are there strange encounters you've had, say, when you have probably felt that this is not a right match?
Every time. Photographers are the first people who will tell you,
है ना?
इनकी नहीं जमने वाली भाई, इनकी फिल्म फटाफट एडिट करके डिलीवर कर दो, 2 महीने में नहीं टिकेंगे. कमीने हम लोग भी. But that's the hard truth of life.
Because the camera doesn't lie?
No, because a photographer is seeing the look in your eyes, the vibe. I think very successful photographers have become very good vibe catchers. But life is so strange. Just when you think this match will not work, that match works for 50 years. And when you say कि यार ये तो made for each other है, वो 4 महीने नहीं टिकेंगे. So that is the beauty of imperfections.
That is.
So then you can be God, but then there is a God.
There is. And you have been reinvited to one of these matches that didn't work, and then they found a better partner or another partner, and then you were called back. Harpreet, sorry.
Yes.
I want you back.
4 or 5 times. There was one wedding. Yeah. But I think at some point, they also went understated because the first celebration was probably grander. The second one had to be, once burnt, twice shy.
Yeah.
And that is why the second ceremony was understated. But then we were again photographers, and I wanted to tell them, maybe it is our bad luck, please change us, so hire a new photographer. But some people don't. I mean, that's how people think,
Yeah.
Let's change everything that was there in the first wedding. So the second wedding, let's have a new photographer. Who knows the photographer की एक तो उसकी तो शक्ल भी अच्छी नहीं है, इसी ने किया होगा.
Tell me, are you in touch with your partner, your ex-partner?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are co-parents. I have a lovely boy. He's taller than me right now. And
How
We are
old is
best
he now?
friends. He's 14 now.
Ah,
And we are very good friends now, because we are also parents to a
to a
child.
child.
And more than anything, I think I was at fault at a lot of places back in the day. And when I've heard these stories and I've documented these stories, I've also begun to have a deep understanding of who I am as a person. So, I mean,
Interesting.
men don't mature before the age of 40. And, strange as it is, if you marry young and you're
Yeah.
not emotionally ready for marriage,
Hmm.
I think you should delay it, get settled, and then marry. I mean, but you have to marry when you're right, in the right space. I married really young,
Hmm.
It didn't work for me. I mean, that was this thing. But
Absolutely.
I am the happiest person in life today. I
Yeah.
mean, the deep contentment that I get from the sheer joy of being surrounded by loving people, loving professionals, loving friends. I have a great group of very, very close friends. We have, and incidentally, it's in the building. We have a group called Bhag Milkha Bhag. Okay, and it started by a running group. There's
Oh,
this
with the running emojis in the.
yeah. So my first friend was Ahana Kumra,
Ah.
the actor. And then she became like a sister to me.
Hmm.
And then one by one, her partner, my friends, my partners, we started coming together and we developed this deep love, the sheer joy of sharing somebody's success. There are very, very successful people in the building. I mean, in the group of friends that I have. One's a writer, one's a director, one's an actor, one's a tennis player, one's a musician, one's a singer. But we all come together, and because it's also the same building, there's no travel involved, and that's the irony of the
Convenience of Mumbai
convenience.
friendship.
But it started with a friendship of convenience, and it's gotten to a point where we celebrate the joys of
Nice.
somebody's success, and that I feel is the definition of where we are heading.
Yeah.
There was a fisherman who said, वो एक कहानी थी ना, वो मीम वाली कहानी है कि there's a fisherman
Huh.
who just goes fishing for 2 hours, catches 2 fish, sells one, gives one to the family, and then the rest of the evening that he's enjoying his life because he's got enough money
Ah.
and he's got the food for the family.
Food.
He's enjoying with the family. So one businessman comes and says, and he hires the boat,
Huh.
he gives one fish as a rental for the boat, and says, the businessman comes and says, यार तू ऐसे क्यों करता है? Work for the whole day, buy boats, and don't rent out, have your own boats, catch a lot of fish, and he says, then do what? He says, then get more money. Do what? Then your family will be more comfortable. And then do what? And then spend time with your family. He said, but I'm doing that.
I'm doing that right now. Oh
So I
my
think-
God.
I think the whole
I wish life was
purpose-
so simple.
Yeah, but that's what. I mean, we are running day after day
Yes.
behind something that we already have. But we want more. We want more. And it's greed.
Yeah.
And it's not greed, it's ambition. But people don't know the difference. I mean, I'm not saying people don't know. For me, I didn't know the difference between ambition and greed. You just run and run and run and run. Thank God I suffered the setbacks in my life where I knew that this is enough for me. And this is what I want, because after this point, I have enough money to now sit down with my family. My mom, my dad, they're the soul of my life. And I go to Pune, they stay in Pune. I go to Pune to spend the most beautiful days with them.
Yeah.
We are sitting, gossiping purifies the soul, I'm telling you. My mother and I, we are gossiping.
I love you for saying this. I love that.
that is
and
what
people make fun of me, but I honestly enjoy gossiping.
That is what bonds you to your parents, to your friends. If you don't have
Absolutely.
gossip, I don't want
I
to be a
think it
saint.
also makes me very popular and in demand. People want to know stories.
Of course, I'm the hottest property in my building because of my gossiping abilities. But that's what people are not realized. It's a rat race, literally a rat race.
It is.
You're earning money. You are paying with your life.
Yeah.
You're paying with your hours, getting that money, which is going to stay in your bank account. And my good friend of mine says, the only money that is yours is the one that you spend, which is very true, no? If you have not spent that money, it was never yours. You can have crores of
I like
rupees in your bank
this.
account.
So true.
So go and spend money. He's a fantastic salesman. He also he's an eyewear specialist. सबसे बड़ा सिंधी बाबा है, fantastic salesman, but he makes a lot of sense. He says the only money that is yours is the
It's the
money that
money
you
you
spend.
spend.
And so I have come to imagine that I could have very limited resources, money, as long as I have great friends and a great family and a great group of people who celebrate my success.
Yeah.
I'm a winner.
That's an awesome attitude to have. Honestly,
Yeah?
I think that really brings me to a point where I feel suddenly now this Harpreet has a real sense of contentment, which I always assume none of us in our industry have, because purely because of the race and the pace at which we are all moving constantly. Tell me, in this time, from the time you discovered the wedding story till date, you are the most successful player. Tell me, has there been any setback professionally where you felt like it's time to change and move on? Or has life just been as amazing as we see it from the outside?
I mean, who doesn't have setback? It's life. Every day is a challenge, and you have to take a decision. Do you want to work for your, I mean, you got to be very, very grounded when you want to, you got to be, it sounds very easy. लिख लो आपको क्या चाहिए और एक साल में वो आपको मिलेगा. It sounds very easy, sounds very, what do you want to be in life? I mean, it's the easiest and the most difficult question is, what do you want to be in life? You're wondering, what do I want to be? Let me just, because you don't know the answer, you say, I want to go with the flow. I want to be an artist. I want to be doing this. I want to have an X amount of bank balance, or I want to travel. They are vague compartments. The minute you become a little more specific about what you want, do you want to buy land? Yes, I want to buy land. So you can buy land as a flat also, as a bungalow also, as a land also, and as a farmland also. So when you buy farmland, do you want to become a farmer? No. I don't want to become a farmer. I just want to have a farmhouse and an Audi and like the shebang, and people don't know what they want, right? The charm of an everyday setback is looking life in perspective. People get too worked up about small setbacks. अरे ये ऐसा हो गया वैसा हो गया, and just, I mean, वो again बहुत वो बाबा वाली theory हो जाएगी, बहुत वो preaching वाली हो जाएगी यार. If it matters tomorrow, or if it matters after a month, then think about it. But if it doesn't matter tomorrow, why are you thinking about it? It's very easy to say, but overthinking has become a hobby. People overthink. Life का project ही है, बस मेरे को ये करना है और बस that is mine. So that's short-sightedness. The minute you're blessed with looking at your life in perspective, you're looking at, hey, this is a challenge, this is a shortcoming, I don't think I'm good at this, let me learn this. The minute you do that, I mean, who doesn't? I was a pathetic editor. I mean, I was a photographer and a videographer, but I didn't know editing. My editor was like a bully. He said, तुम्हें क्या पता है, तुम तो ऐसे ही तुम shoot करके आ जाओ तो हमको करना पड़ता है. And he used to give me so much of grief. Oh my God. Then one day I got fed up. I said, 10 तारीख को बोलता है ये project दे रहा है. Client बोलता है 10 तारीख को कि यार, where is my film? He says, अभी नहीं, अगला 10 को आ जाओ. So, I mean, that's loss of face. So that day I understood the only way you can be happy is start learning something. And there is a strange power when you don't have to depend on anybody else, when you can do stuff on your own. The minute, if it's your profession and if you're the owner of the business, it is your job to know everything. unless and until it's a waste of time, and if somebody else can do the job, by no means you should be the one wasting your time doing it.
True.
Delegate it.
Yes.
But the challenging aspect, the stress doesn't come from the challenge of it. The stress comes from the worry ki what will happen if I don't start doing it.
Yeah.
Dependency, which is also okay till a certain point, but you can't relinquish control.
Yeah.
You see? So yes, every day is a challenge. But then again, you have to develop different pockets of your life to start jumping the compartments. Your work cannot be your life. You have to have a work and health balance. You should love your own, health mein aa jata hai travel and your workouts and the attention to your own self, or your holistic healing, or some kind of spiritual activity, some kind of connection to either you believe in God or a higher power. That part of your life. So I see life as 3 circles. The intimate circle is you, your spiritual being. Your close circle, the second circle, is your family, loved ones, your partner, your children. And the third is the friends and the world in general.
Yeah.
I think if you have a balance of all of that, you don't really are, you're not
There's no
affected by setbacks. Setbacks are, you can have fun and say, hey, that's it. Unless,
Are you
of course,
able to
that's
have
it.
this balance?
Oh, I love it. I'm
How
right
are
now
you
by
doing
the...
it? Tell me the secret.
No, it's not a
Humse
secret.
na ho paye.
It's just saying that this is enough. This money is enough. Like, if it's raining today. It's pouring.
Yeah.
And, I hate getting... Who likes getting wet, right? But that little run that I'm fond of running. Okay. So I'll do my 5Ks and 10Ks once a week, or once in 3 days. I'll do a 10K. And I love that one thing that I love that run. Now, that, more than the health benefit, disconnects my mind from the stresses of life.
Wow.
So I think if you can jump compartments, you can beautifully navigate compartments. That is the secret of contentment. Work is work. People don't understand that work is work. Work has to be left at workspace. And now this group that I'm telling you, we've also become very spiritual as people, because when we are meeting in the evening and we are playing a game, or the sequence, and or the taboo.
Oh, you
and
played the board games.
Yeah, the board games, the categories, and we have this fantastic girl, Namrata, who's the mother of the group, who gets all these board games, and that to everybody over the past 6 months, 8 months, or a year or so, everybody has felt the stress levels go down, a greater balance in life that has come in, solely on one word, one thing, that is a true friend. The minute you have a true friend who's happy for you, who has a love for celebrating your own success with you, I think contentment is a given.
My God. I feel like suddenly calling you Harpreet Baba. I'm feeling healed right now, I swear. But I love your content. I have to tell you, it's fabulous. It's hilarious. But like you said, it also has a deep message. It's almost like, I don't know if you watch movies, but Jaane bhi do yaro.
Of course.
That your reels are like that. I'm laughing, but I'm also finding it relatable, painful at times, But tell me, did it bother you, because you've done so many celebrity weddings? Were you ever concerned, how are they going to see me? Are they going to take me very lightly? Do all these thoughts come to your mind when you're putting up content?
Obviously, when you're younger, you're thinking, oh, what are people going to think? You do get affected. But then age has a beautiful way of maturing you and say, you know what? Nobody gives a shit about you.
You're not that important.
No, you're not that important. I think people are just going to laugh, say that he's an idiot, or just say, hey, he's funny, and go their ways. And thank God for the explosion of Instagram content. Nobody can see. I mean, nobody gives a second thought to what you're doing.
Yeah.
You just might as well do whatever you want
You
to
want
do.
to do.
You know, and if it's giving you if it's giving you pleasure, do it. It's a way of expressing yourself. It also keeps you motivated in writing. You know, I am a
Yeah.
failed Bollywood a film director, failed Bollywood actor, failed Bollywood editor, cinematographer. Might as well be a successful reel maker, na? It's very
ओ
funny.
बेटा तुमने लाइफ में क्या किया? मैंने इंस्टा रील्स बनाई.
मैं अभी बोलने वाला हूँ मैं अभी 100 साल बाद जो अब मैं अपनी जायदाद दे के जा रहा हूँ, जो भी मेरे विल में मैं लिख के जा रहा हूँ, मैंने 15 रील्स बनाई जिसने 1 मिलियन क्रॉस किए, ये मेरी जायदाद है. That's how funny life is, no? It is it is
Shit. Just
deeply,
imagine.
yeah, it is deeply, it's satirical. Life is
Yeah.
satirical now. It's funny, but nobody knows where they're heading right now.
Yeah.
They're just one dopamine hit after another. Tuck, 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 tuck. Reel, reel, reel. And before you know, from 2007, you've entered 2024 and you've not realized how the years have gone by.
Yeah. That's true. I'm experiencing that. It's frightening. It's like going at that, lightning speed where you don't seem to have control on things, and yet you are feeling like you are all under control and it's all you. It's all you.
That's
Tell
right.
me, when you say that, you're not successful film director, you have been lucky enough to, you dropped me that voice note where you said, Yash uncle, and then you corrected yourself and said, Yash sir. Tell me, how did movies happen and why didn't it happen? And is it going to still be a part of your agenda? Do you feel curious to explore that side too?
I don't know. I'm so happy in my life that I don't feel ambitious anymore. I want to get back to my friends and play another board game of.
God, you know what? Let me get X and Zero or Scrabble or something out here. Let's do the podcast
No,
with
because
that.
I mean, what do you finally want to? Yes, I mean,
I want to meet your friends more than
you
anyone
have to
now.
you have to get them here. They're all a gang, and we all. It's a very good idea. And you know what? We discovered friendship by accident. Everybody was in a stage of life where you're socially anxious. A lot of people are socially anxious. You want to go to a party or invited a party, and you're like, "अरे नहीं यार मैं क्या करूँगा वहाँ जाके कितना बोर होने वाले हैं वो साइड में खड़े होने वाले हैं and I don't even like that वो fake लोग मैं क्या बात करूँगा मेरे को नहीं जाना पार्टी पे." But I mean, all of us were in that phase कि we
What are you
just didn't want to go out,
saying?
and we find reasons to meet up almost every evening when we are in town, because that's the true nature, I
You're
mean, you
living
understood,
that.
right?
Yeah.
I
Make a movie with them. Because I think I don't know why I feel you have this mad side to you. And I think whatever you put your hands on, it's always got this quirky, twisted angle to it. And I think, the storyteller that you are, this should be something that should.
again, it's a very narrow field of humor that people understand.
Uh-huh.
Or most of my friends, I mean, almost all my friends say we never know when you are joking, when you are serious. You're a
Yeah.
weird kind of a chap. We love you, but only because you're around. We have to love you. Otherwise, we're not very emotionally attached to you. But you do something to make us feel happy. But we really can't put up. So it makes me doubt myself. Ki, what am I doing?
Uh-huh.
The thing is, we're in a flux in humanity. Never has there been a time when people are so distracted. There is attention deficit disorder rampant among children,
Yeah.
especially the ones who've survived the pandemic and are now at a preschool age or a school going age. Now, that's a very scary situation. Also, I feel there are no role models left. If you think deeply, it's a strange time when people don't have role models anymore,
True.
or they're very few and far between. So
Yeah.
now, and everybody is entitled to expressionism.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be this. I want to be this. Women can get offended at anything. Males are not acting as males. Masculine energy is perceived as ugly. We're in a strange time right now.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
At this time, and this is a time when humanity is taking a paradigm shift. And we are experiencing all of that. When World War II, the last known world war, was happening, millions and millions of people were dying. Almost, I think 20 million people died by the end of it. And that was a time when humanity was shifting because people said, no more wars. Right now, we're still years away from that, but people will start saying, with artificial intelligence and all of that coming in, the whole flood of
Yes.
absolutely bizarre information flooding the markets, people are going to say, you know what? No more social media. And not that, I mean, it sounds very strange. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
बेवकूफ क्या बात कर रहा है? नहीं. At the spiritual level, you only connect after a storm. And we are right now in the middle of a storm. That storm is the confusion of expression. Who do you want to be? You see funny people making funny reels, but for them, it's the most serious thing in life. And because there is so much of turmoil, all the more reason that you have to deeply connect to the person that you want to be in the
Yeah.
spiritual level.
Yeah.
But spiritual level, you don't even have the attention span to understand what is your spiritual side.
Yes.
Imagine we are in that kind of a flux.
Interesting.
Everyone hearing this will feel, you just have to close your eyes for a minute and feel, who are you spiritually, or what do you want to be spiritually? I am guaranteeing you 90% of them won't have the answer. They want to be like, I want to be a good person, kind person, I want to give back to humanity. How?
How?
How is it ever going to happen? You can't even get yourself to a contentment stage.
Yeah.
And you have to get yourself to a contentment stage to give back to
True.
humanity, to further further mankind, as a race. We're in a flux.
Do
And
you feel that you experience this with the younger members in your team as well?
you can't say that. Some of the younger people are actually so mature and they're so sorted because also they're coming out of the turmoil. They're coming out of it. There's a very thin line when you're going to get sucked into reels and all that social this thing,
Yeah.
or you have a deeper meaning to life. And parenting again, oh my god, the parents of 2000s and 2010s and the children that are coming out right now, you want to see the child and say, who are your parents?
Yeah.
And you want to just hit yourself and say,
Yeah.
what have we done?
happened?
What happened? What have we done?
Yes.
And now we have a more mature crop that is coming up and saying, hey, I've seen this madness. I choose not to be a part of it, or I choose to have a limited role in this madness because I want my life to be this.
Yeah.
So we are in the middle of a storm. After this storm, you're going to see clarity. Before that, in the 2000s, 2005, 2006, 2007, those are the last years people can remember.
That's true.
And then from 8, it all started off in a gush of smartphones and internet and social media and Orkut and Facebook and Instagram and all of that. And then woof, 15 years of your life have gone.
Just gone by. But I still feel like, when I'm dealing with, the youngsters and, because of the school that we run, we are constantly interacting with those who are in that age bracket of 18 to 22, 23. And even the ones who maybe say working in the wedding space, the younger lot. I just feel like they're not into anything for real. I think the whole idea of being original doesn't exist because they have so many reference points all the time. So creatively, I feel they're battling because in their head, they're thinking they're very creative. But when it comes to put, a thought on paper, it ceases to happen because they're just so overwhelmed with extra information and extra exposure that they have always been living with. And I feel it's taken away from the novelty factor, from the excitement factor. It's also killed the originality. And I feel that people in the creative space, we are, whilst we are having the comfort of a reference, easy one to pick, and now with AI creates that reference in a fraction of a second, I feel we've stopped thinking. We've not been able to think as brilliantly as we were thinking, say, 8 to 10 years back, because we had time. We also had better intellect, I feel, as a younger generation, which I don't think exists now because they've grown up only watching things. They've not had the time to process and think for themselves. You know, the original thinkers.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're doing enough to help them understand this, because I feel we have got into their world instead of pulling them out from their world and bringing them to ours. Do you feel that way?
I personally feel children, especially children, are not allowed to get bored anymore. It's very important for boredom to come in so that creativity can grow. It's a weird concept, but till the point, because it is constant hit of dopamine all the time, every second they need to be occupied, and that's the worst we're doing with people, with our children also. The creative aspect, because it's an age of over information, everything is seen and heard. And, everything that you can think is there. Somebody has done it.
Yeah.
Film is about 100 years old. Photography is a little over 100 years old. Yeah. So everything is there. In 100 years, human beings have documented every creative thought. Not every. I mean, you still have a percentage of about 5 or 10% where new creativity keeps on coming, but it's so few and far between that your concept, because your brain has thought of it, is creative to you, but it's already there in the world in a better format.
Yes.
So now it's not your fault, but it's not the world's fault too.
True.
So when you are saying, this is my expression of creativity, you see some very, very funny things, which in the guise of creativity, there is a banana peel in a museum saying, this is worth $1 million. And people are laughing and saying, hey, really? But now they've taken seriously because the whole world is believing that this banana peel is an artistic creation. Imagine that. But this is expressionism.
Yeah.
So there is no cap on what you can do or say. You just, people don't want to be a herd. People don't want to be cattle. कि मेरे को उसको फॉलो नहीं करना है, मेरे को ये मेरा अपना, मुझे अपना ये करना है, अपना एक्सप्रेशनिज्म करना है. What is appealing to the world is now narrowing down. Everybody wants customization. Even if you suggest the best idea, I would rather tell you, never suggest your best idea. Suggest the third best first, then the second best, and then the best, because the person is going to warm up. Because the third best you then suggest and say, this is already done. I want something original. People come and say, explain to me, how are you going to shoot my wedding film and what is going to be the theme of my wedding film? Now, that's the most boring question in the world, because I will not make you do your feras in the opposite direction.
Oh, yeah.
Your feras will be 4 feras or 7 feras, or they will be like that only. Yeah. I can maximum shoot it from this angle or this angle or this angle, or a drone shot or a wide angle, and it is always going to be that.
Yeah, true.
But the way it's presented to the world, the way it is, it can't look funny because it's as important as a wedding. But it's got to be sensible.
Yeah.
The only unique thing that you have in your wedding is your face and your story.
Yeah.
True. All the elements are the same.
That is true. I'm just reminded, constantly clients have that thing, naya kya karenge, naya kya karenge. So many times in my head, I'm having wicked thoughts, which obviously I don't tell the client. So I've had wicked thoughts like, दूल्हे को भगा लेते हैं, फेरा नहीं करते, नया क्या है? When you are okay to wear the Sabyasachi lehenga, You're not asking Naya kya hai. Are you finding a new designer? No, you want that brand over there. There are so many things that happen, but yet that pressure is constantly there. And the other part I feel is that as a creative person, I feel if I'm not bringing anything new on board, I don't want to do the wedding. I probably reached that stage
Yeah.
where if I'm not getting the creative liberty, I actually feel bad. And clients catch on to my expression also. They're like, Acha, madam ko bura laga. You know, she wants that new idea to be seeped in somewhere.
Right.
So I'm now in a phase where I'm only working for clients who are allowing me that liberty to genuinely do the Naya rather than sell them the same thing, repackaging it as something Naya. Tell me, in my field, I feel I have still a lot to explore. You know, when it comes to stage designing, or it comes to stage entertainment, or it comes to guest experiences, I still feel we have so many new ideas which we are not being able to do because everyone's running from one wedding to the other. But if you're taking up lesser work, you're able to get bored, like
True.
you said, and thus think of something new and present it also new.
Yeah.
How much of time do you get to be able to kind of regroup as a team or even realign yourself individually? And do you think, because I feel you are also dependent on what a planner does.
Yeah.
What is the newness the planner is bringing on board? What is the new couple entry the planner has thought of or the choreographer has thought of? Don't you feel sometimes you get restricted because of what is being served on platter? You have to capture what is already being served. And do you feel like there is a saturation point that people like you who are superbly talented and have the intellect going all the time, so do you feel like that kind of is now a challenge and you're reaching a saturation point, or are you okay with this run that's on for weddings?
See, you're talking of the ornamental part of the job.
Yeah.
The ornamental part is always dependent on the person getting in, the decorator, the planner, all of that, because they've discussed that with the couple.
Sure.
I'm talking of more of the soulful side of wedding films, the spiritual side. Now, at the spiritual level, what do you do with the couple? Their pre-wedding is very important to them, and that is the time when only three people are present: the bride, groom, and the photographer. There's nobody else. There's no planner. The decoration is the fields,
scenic beauty.
the scenic beauty. And at that point, you really unearth the real child that the groom is, the bride is. Getting that footage, documenting the story, their fears, their childhood, talking to the parents, about their children, what they thought 25 years ago, ek din meri beti ki bidai hogi. That is the soulful part of a wedding film. You're obviously capturing every color, every detail, every drone shot, and all the documentation and all the decoration and all the cutlery and all of that. But you're also putting in the deep part of the film, and that's where the intellect comes in. That's where you. So when I have a Zoom call, and I've now started having a Zoom call with all the clients before getting on board and wanting to know, what do you want? And some people say, हेलो, आप क्या करेंगे हमारे लिए, थीम क्या होगी हमारी वेडिंग फिल्म की? थैंक यू, नहीं, मेरे से नहीं होगा. That is not what I can, and we all understand, ये बंदे के साथ मेरी wavelength नहीं है, तो पहले ही.
So you are vetting the clients in a way.
Of course.
Wow.
I can't waste I might as well waste my time, might as well invest my time than waste it, no?
Yeah.
Might as well invest it with a person I mentally match my wavelength. I can't do a senseless couple. Even if that has a lot of money, and we have to pay, but we have to pay our bills. We have to pay salaries. They're editors, they're cinematographers, they're photographers, they're people dependent on the company, and they are also getting a beautifully shot film and this thing. But they are senseless. Their parenting is flawed, and much as I respect them for who they are, in their own space and not mine. That is my sanity, and I have a right to my sanity.
Wow. No means no.
No, I mean, I am not the right fit for you. I am not vetting you. I am not the right fit for you. गलती मेरे में है. शायद मैं कुछ ज़्यादा बुक्स पढ़ चुका हूँ, या मैंने ही कुछ बुक्स नहीं पढ़ी हैं.
My intellect level. It's
And then
not allowing you to just compromise on how you
yes,
feel about
yes.
being on a project.
And much as I
Interesting.
love daughters being pampered by their fathers, the papa ki pari is a term that has been negatively coined. Ki
Yeah.
the lady does not have a brain.
Yeah.
She thinks, मुझे ये चाहिए तो चाहिए, finish.
Yeah.
I am not the person who's going to give you that.
Yeah.
Your father is the person. Maybe your father should be the photographer then. I am not your photographer. So that is my sanity. No offense.
Interesting.
But
Absolutely.
if you're brainless, I'm not going to do your work. And I've said that in very clear words to people in the past. Say, please take back your money.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to do your
Oh, yeah.
work.
I'm suddenly reminded.
We've also.
Harpreet bhai, wo nahi karo.
But they're fantastic people in their own right.
Absolutely.
Sometimes
you're right. It's the wavelength. I think it's your entire thought process, your upbringing, everything leads to you being a certain type of person.
Yeah.
And probably you're in that stage where you don't need to. And I'm sure it is all these years of experiences that has in a way helped you understand yourself better as to what is your tolerance level.
No,
and,
again,
and
it
where you
boils
want
down.
to go.
Again, it boils down to that one question: who do you want to be?
Yeah.
Or where do you want to see yourself?
Yeah.
If you can't answer that one basic fundamental question, कि आपको कहाँ जाना है या आपकी कितनी भूख है, you can't do all this.
Okay, now tell me something. When we are on floor, okay, at a wedding, we see equal number of girls and boys and men and women who are there, whether it's the guest list or it's the event team that's working. But somehow in the photography space, we always see it's a male-dominated space for as far as weddings especially is concerned. What's really the reason for this?
It's a very strange thing. There are 11 people in my studio right now. 9 of them are girls. When we put out a job for an editor or a color corrector, girls have better color in their eyes. This is a scientific proven fact. I hope you know that. Girls can see more colors than men, than boys. Now this is, you Google this.
I'm sorry, I'm finding this really weird.
You Google this.
Okay.
Women can see a more variety of color than men. The reason is scientific. The reason is evolutionary. The reason is also, just to give you a hint, women, when they become mothers, can detect the pink of their child's skin faster than men, because that makes them understand that the child is in trouble, or the health of the child, because that's evolutionary. So this is, you can research on this. I have seen that firsthand. My color is useless. Somebody else comes and does the same color, it's much more beautiful.
Okay.
The reason being that this is who we are. The production staff in weddings is female dominated, but the male dominated on-floor staff is the reason, because there are very, very long hours of work. It is a physically demanding space. It is back-breaking work. Not that girls can't do it. They're better photographers.
I was just going to say that, because in wedding planning teams...
Yeah, the wedding planning is different. In photography, it's a technical, physically demanding space. You see, women they're very good photographers. It's just when you're working 14 hours and 18 hours and 16 hours, it's just very, very tiring and taxing. But having said that, all my directors are girls. The director, the person who heads the photography and the cinematography team, the photo and video team, and the person who's talking to every father of the bride, every mother of the bride, who's helping the bride do her thing, is a girl. So the technical staff could be male dominated.
Yeah.
But the emotional staff are always girls.
It's girls. But I still feel overall, and it's not like with one company, but we work with multiple teams, and I've always found that it's a very male-dominated space. And I've wondered is it that they make for better photographers and cinematographers? Why, when a lady is driving, don't you guys react the same way? That
driving is again a scientific thing. It's a left brain and a right brain thing. I mean, everybody knows that so many women are going to hit me.
Yeah, I know. That's why I want you to talk, baby.
Women are the best. Women drivers are like stars in the shining sky.
Please, yeah, I have pressed on the brake instead of the accelerator, so please.
Women drivers are like stars in the shining sky. Only you can see them. They can't see you. So many women are going to kill me. No, but driving ko to yaar common joke hi hai. But as photographers, they are much more aesthetic. And women are the best.
Have more
Cut,
of them
cut,
on the floor.
cut this. What the fuck are you doing?
हरप्रीत
बारिश
टेंशन
रुकी
में
क्या? बारिश रुकी
हरप्रीत
मैं को घर जाना है।
नहीं अभी तो बोर्ड गेम्स खेलेंगे बेटा oh god
But
Tell
as a
me-
wrapping this thing, it is a beautiful thing that you're doing. I mean, what inspired you to have a show like The Show Must Go On?
you know, I genuinely felt like everyone in this space of live events, entertainment, we really have so many interesting stories and we have such an insane life. I think we give up on too many things to make others feel happy, whether it's with a concert or whether it's at
Yeah.
weddings and all. And I felt like, yeah, there is nobody who is out there telling our stories and helping people know कि हम लोग कौन है और हम क्या करते क्या है और ये जो अच्छी सी वीडियो मिलती है लोगों को देखने के लिए like अच्छा सा कॉन्सर्ट देखते हैं बट एक्चुअली
Yeah.
पर्दे के पीछे वाला गेम दैट्स व्हाई इनफैक्ट आई हैव दिस कर्टन एंड दिस एंटायर
Yeah.
पीस इज actually inspired from the life of
Behind the scenes.
special people like you.
Oh, so nice. This is a beautiful concept. But thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
It's more than it's a story that's just the tip of the iceberg. You know. But thank God we are putting out our stories there.
Yes.
As it's even a heart surgeon has his own stories.
Yeah.
He's working relentlessly. You know, everybody in life has their own story.
Yeah.
The final being ki, what is the end purpose of where you want to head? You know
Yeah.
that. But lovely. It was such a pleasure being here.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing to have you here and always wishing you the best and please keep that madness on, whether it's your board games or it is Insta. We love this side to
I
you.
think that madness can't ever leave me. I'm a child at heart and I hope I don't grow up.
Oh,
So yeah,
yeah,
God is great.
absolutely. Life is great.
Life is great.
And I think contentment is that key word I'm taking away
Yes.
from you. And
Yeah.
I hope to
And good friends.
good friends. Thank you, Harpreet.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.